sure
should
I
have brought
have
mine
one
with the
here.
car at home.
No, I just need to dig it out. Thank you. I would like to call a regular meeting of the Cumberland Fire District on September 28th, 2017 to order. Can I have a roll call, please? Commissioner Scullin, it is absent and excused. Commissioner Champagne?
Here.
Commissioner... Thank you. Commissioner Archibald?
Here.
Commissioner Hogan?
Here.
Commissioner Jones? Here. Commissioner Santoro?
Here.
Cynthia Valletta's here also. Sorry, I finished up our conference yesterday, and I'm still a little shell-shocked over that. Could we all stand, please? Commissioner Santoro, I think you have something you'd like to acknowledge.
Chief Comeyer from the Manville Fire Department and Albion Fire Department has passed away recently, and the family, as well as the Manville Fire Department, asked me to recognize and appreciate Chief Finley for the Cumberland Fire District for showing up and being a party to the wake and funeral. It was greatly appreciated by all. He was a wonderful man that many of us know for many years. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, general announcements. Approval of the minutes from 8/22. It seems like such a long time ago. Is there a motion on the table?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Archibald,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Hogan. Is there and Commissioner Santoro is abstaining. Is there a discussion? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the meeting minutes are approved 5-zip. Any communications? I was wondering if it's possible, and solicitor, would it be possible for us to put old business at the end of the meeting? If I could move these out of order, because I think we're going to spend a little bit more discussion with the old business, reviewing the bylaws.
You can.
All right, so do I have to have a vote?
Madam Chair,
Commissioner?
point of order. I was going to bring up the same issue. It looks like we have a pretty healthy agenda tonight. I was going to ask to table the review and discussion of the Cumberland Cumberland Fire District bylaws until next week, and I would appreciate a second on that. Thank you.
Next month.
Next month. I'm sorry. What did I say? Next week? I apologize. Next month. I'm sorry.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Commissioner Archibald. Can I have discussion, please?
Why?
So-
Why?
Why?
I feel that we have a pretty good agenda this evening. The bylaws are the bylaws. There are some questions. I think we got some really meaty items in the agenda for this month, and that's the reason that I asked to table till next month. I don't think anything major is going to happen between now and next month that we're going to have to rely on the bylaws.
May I make a suggestion? May I? I actually just noticed this. It says review and discuss the Cumberland Fire District bylaws draft. It does not say and vote on them. So what I would suggest is to take the new business out of order. If anyone has any questions or concerns about the bylaws, I would love to have those questions tonight so that I can give you those answers prior to your next meeting, and answer any questions at the next meeting as well. It might be helpful if you have time. If you don't have time, then we can do this next month. But if people have questions or comments today, I would love to have those. So it's just a suggestion, but.
And I would echo, it doesn't happen too often, but I would echo the solicitor's opinion that we're just going to look at them, review them. We can set a time limit for tonight, 10 o'clock. If we go beyond that, we've done it with zoning board in the past, right, Ms. Morris? 11 o'clock, we just stop. But if we want to,
yeah.
hopefully 9 o'clock maybe.
Well, you're talking 4 hours for a,
No, I'm talking
for a fire board meeting, which is, a little out of control.
maybe 9 o'clock.
I just think there's too much here to swallow at this point.
Well, I mean, we've had them.
There's a lot of change, there's been a lot of changes that she's made in the last month that basically came over the other day by way of email a day and a half ago. So I haven't had the time to sit here and read it. And then we could be here discussing this all night long.
So the point is that we could be here discussing it until we feel time has been exhausted. And Ms. Morris has time to take these recommendations back and over the next 30 days, make proposals, send them out, and we can respond by email as well. I mean, in all honesty, Mr. Champagne, I watched the video from last month, and I watched that there was opportunity to email Ms. Morris to 2 weeks before, a week before the meeting or so, 9 days. She got one email the 10 days before.
That's immaterial if she got one email or 5 emails.
We've had time.
The issue is the document's been changed.
I understand that.
And I need to sit down and study it, not rush through it and have all kinds of stuff going on and not understanding it. I want to be able to sit down. Everybody should have the right to sit down and read it in its entirety.
And she's here to answer the questions right
Not
face to face.
just run through this and not even have time to think about certain issues.
Yeah, may I?
Yes.
But yeah, I'm not suggesting that we run through anything, or I'm just suggesting that if people have comments or questions tonight, I would appreciate those tonight. I'm not suggesting that you can't have additional questions tomorrow or 2 weeks from now or 4 weeks from now at the next meeting. All I'm saying is it would help me to know if there are any, Commissioner Scullin's not here tonight. I'm not suggesting that, he can't call me or email me or talk about this next month. And by the way, if it does take, hours to get through old business, then maybe you do table it. That's your decision. I'm just making a suggestion.
And there's no vote.
There's no vote anyway.
Right,
There's
but
no
it
vote
doesn't
anyway.
matter. You still need to digest it.
So,
I mean, to me, it's taking a 40-page document, and we're going to sit here and we're going to run through it tonight with no thought.
At least Ms. Morris is here to answer our questions directly as to what's been changed and what's done, as opposed to emails back and forth. I mean, we can all hear the comments of each other tonight. That's my take on it. Tabling it again. I understand we can't vote on it at all. Just at least talking about it.
Another month's not going to make a difference. It's been 2.5 years now, so what's another month?
So what I'm hearing you say is some of you on the board need a little bit more time to digest any of the changes that were made. It doesn't matter whether they appeared here 2 weeks ago or today. You're requesting time. And as far as I'm concerned, the more educated we are about the bylaws, and the better it is for the committee now and for the committee in the future. I have no problem with, if you have any questions for the solicitor, we can ask her this evening after the meat of the meeting, and I don't have a problem tabling this, but I will not, I don't think that it should go any further than next month's meeting. I think we should be prepared as a board next month, whether or not we vote upon it the following month, but we should be prepared to finalize the bylaws by the next meeting. That's my opinion.
I agree with you. Well,
So is there a motion on the table?
Madam Chair, there is a motion on the table. I believe there was a second. We are under discussion. I believe that we need to vote.
And then let's take a vote. All in favor of tabling the meeting but addressing any questions after the meat of the rest of the meeting this evening until next month. But we will be prepared next month as a board. Oh.
So are we discussing it tonight a little bit? Not at all.
So, here, let me say it again. We are, the motion on the table is to, besides go out of order, that's not a motion, to table the discussion of the bylaws until next month. But if there are questions, we can ask Ms. Solicitor Morris at the end of prior to the end of the meeting. Okay?
Is it prior to the end of the meeting or after the meeting?
Prior to the end of the meeting. If anyone has a couple of questions that they want clarified,
Okay.
now would be the time that those could be asked, without a discussion about the entire bylaws. Okay? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Me?
All right. 5-1. It passes 5-1. So the bylaws discussion, review and discussion will be tabled until next month, but everyone will be prepared next month.
So, Madam Chair, if I may, so
Yes.
If the finance director could just make sure that the next one says, and vote, that's all. Thank you. Which, again, you don't have to vote.
We don't have to vote next
You
month.
don't ever have
No.
to vote, but...
Okay. All right. Finance reports. Moving along. Ms. Carol-Ocean?
There are a couple pages out of order, just bringing that up. The trial balance is stuck in between the income and expenses. So income sheet is number 1, then there's the trial balance. And sometimes I wasn't seeing that well on my computer screen, so sorry about that. But everything's going fine. We have great cash flow right now. Going to see how the second quarter payments, that's due in a couple of weeks, so have some statistics on that. And next year, I think we'll be able to plan our cash flow a lot better after we have 2 years of quarterly payment history.
Do we need to make a note of this in the Valley Breeze that second quarter payments are due?
Yes, you just reminded me. I should have done that. We
Okay.
did it for first quarter. And
Right.
Yeah, and yeah, we had planned on doing that.
Okay.
So,
All right. That would be fine.
okay.
Anything else you need to report?
Not this month.
Okay.
Nothing unusual.
All right. Next on the agenda, Chief's report. Chief Finley, what happened in August?
We had quite a few things go on in August. One of our assisted living facilities had an accidental fire, and talk about all of the stars aligning correctly. This is exactly what happened, because the resident had a desk under the window and 2 paperback books on the desk with a magnifying glass on top of the books, and her mother's chair, which we estimate to be about 100 years old and with no fire retardancy in it, ignited from the sun ray coming through the magnifying glass. So it was a very well debated topic between the responders and the state fire marshal, who actually came back the following day and followed the path of light, and it was almost a direct point to the chair as we put the room back together. Fortunately, they have sprinklers, so it basically became the chair and some contents in that apartment, and some water damage on the floors below. But Brookdale was very ecstatic with our response. The plan that we had worked on for sheltering in place and moving the residents proved out to be very effective. They had coordinators, event coordinators go into the rooms to entertain the residents while we were making the rest of the building safe between air monitoring and stopping the water. So that was pretty eventful for one of the larger capacity housing units in the town. So that worked out good for them. The part that didn't work out so good is that they were initially aghast that this could happen and the national ramifications, because Brookdale is a national company. But you had to have a 30-year-old building with non-argon windows that weren't tinted. So as you started putting all of the pieces together, the urgency somewhat lessened, because the southern facilities that they already have tinted windows because the heat is much higher. The newer facilities have the argon gas, so it will reflect the heat out. So it wasn't as big as initially thought, but it was a national bulletin within their company. So tomorrow we will be putting ladder 1 in service. We've got the radios in. Some of the equipment is being transferred from the current truck that's in service. There's some other equipment that's being purchased, and you've seen on the agenda tonight the proposal for the water tank and pump. So the members are looking forward to getting into a newer technology, and we're at that point now where we can move forward. And you have a list of the responses that we did outside of the significant ones. If there's any other questions, I'll be glad to answer, and if I don't, I will certainly find an answer for you. I can say that starting this month, and actually starting tomorrow, we are getting back into the evacuation drills with a major employer in town. This is a yearly operation that they fund the personnel to come in to assist them in the evacuation drills. So that is starting once again, and that always receives, a good working rapport between us and the business, which has expanded out. Outside of August, I had some members attend the public education and information Bridging the Gap program that Chairwoman Olet put together with the Massachusetts Coalition. We have some really good ideas that came out of that 2-day seminar that we will be implementing. A lot of renewed interest in the gap between the time that people get out of high school until they start into their early 70s, and how we really don't pay much attention to them, but it's one of our bigger clientele of persons that we render service to. So it was a very effective seminar, and we will be doing a lot of public education in the coming months. It's not just going to end.
Thanks for the plug.
We did have some field training, thanks to the town of Cumberland. They allowed us use of the house that came down for the new public safety building, and we had use of a house that a local developer, Baltic Group, is developing on Bear Hill Road for Bear Hill Road we had for a better part of 6 weeks, and we did some very effective training without doing damage to the outside of the house. She was very particular that she did not want an eyesore for the neighbors, and we were very particular about what we wanted to accomplish, and the two of us met and we were able to accomplish this. So I see that is being raised today, so that process is done.
Did we send her a thank you note?
We will. It was on my items to do, and I failed to actually do it, but we have to there's some other property that we have to return to her, so it will be done at the same time.
Are there any pictures? Did anyone take any pictures during the
Yes,
training?
we had some pictures.
Okay.
Yeah.
Might be nice to send her a couple.
Yeah. We did, while they were at Bear Hill, we had a fire chief for the day, which was a contest at Mercy Mount School. The particular recipient as fire chief of the day, we brought him and his sister along with their mother to Bear Hill Road, and they actually, the three of them, well, the two children actually participated in some of the training with the guys. So she was very thankful. The kids were very excited. And it proved to be a very good public relations tool for us, but also, you know, to show just what operations and what techniques we have to employ with today's building styles and building arrangements that we're dealt with.
Madam Chair. Question? Chief, I noticed some expenditures for ALS supplies, advanced life support supplies last month. Have we come to a conclusion with the state about what they want us to carry on the on the trucks that we have been called ALS in the past?
We're currently at impasse. There is going to be a change for the engine companies compared to the transport vehicles, and we're waiting for that directive to come out. But it's going to reduce the amount of drugs that we actually need to carry, which will be a blessing for all of us. So at this point, we have the new truck scheduled to be inspected. I'm just waiting on the exact date the Department of Health will be coming up. But they had told me as of today that they would inspect under last year's standards. So they're initially favoring that they're not going to hold us for the upgrades on this particular vehicle or any of our vehicles. Yeah.
So Franklin Farms is having a whatever day. Track. I don't know what it is, but I go every year. And the ladder truck's going to be there, so we'd like to. Is that going to be the first official public showing of the ladder truck, of ladder one?
Well, I can't guarantee that. It's going to go in service tomorrow morning, so. Your guess is as good as mine on that one.
Oh, it already
Once we get equipment on it and it starts to go, it's going to look much better with the equipment on it than just empty shelves.
Oh, okay. Right. Well, something will be there anyways,
Yeah.
Right? I also want to, two things I just want to draw everyone's attention to, and this really makes me happy, that there were 2 carbon monoxide incidents that were addressed in your incident type, and I'm assuming that, or I don't know about that, but does that mean that there are people who are alive today because of the 2 carbon monoxide incidents that we responded to?
Yes. They were not fatalities. Their detectors went off. They called. It's our standard operating procedure to go in with a meter in air packs. They stepped in, the meters started to sound, they donned the air packs, got everybody else out, called for some additional assistance from outside agencies, and found the culprit, which needed an outside repair, but things were shut off. Air was made safe in the building, and on both incidents.
Good. People are alive today. That's all that matters.
Yes.
Yes.
Chief, just a couple of questions. Where are we standing at the overtime as of now? I know we had some issues with overtime. Are we behind, above?
Above. I've got 6 people out on injury right now.
You got 6 IODs?
6 IODs. Two I believe will be short-term. One is in the pension system. He's applying for a pension, and the other 2 are in PT. Depending on how long PT lasts and how they respond to PT, will determine their length of stay out. But
which is affecting our overtime.
Absolutely, yeah.
Thank you.
You know, I never anticipated this many people being out, quite honestly. I would have never guessed 6 people. It's extremely high, and it's all crazy stuff.
Thank you, Chief. That was basically my 2 questions with the IOD and the overtime. Thank you.
Commissioner Santoro.
Chief, is it worth monitoring or listing how often we go on mutual aid calls in the breakdown of the numbers we get each month? How often?
I could list mutual aid calls. It's nowhere near as high as it once was.
Okay.
Surrounding communities have bolstered up their equipment through either purchases or repairs. So the time spent out of town has been minimized greatly from January.
Great. And
But,
a follow-up to...
I will put that in from now on.
Thank you. And a follow-up to Commissioner Hogan's question, when I read the CBA, I didn't read the section about when firefighters are sent out for an independent medical exam to see that they're progressing as quickly as medically appropriately to get them back onto the rotation. Or is that just a subjective?
We don't have a time frame for an independent medical exam in the contract. If they're progressing, it has been my experience in the past that if they're progressing and they're going on a path of treatment that their doctor prescribes, an IME usually won't interrupt that. So we'll be spending $1,000 for an IME to say, I concur with the treatment being prescribed. When we get to an impasse area, it would be the time for an IME. And some, most of these are, well, there's one that's out 9 months now, and the rest are all under 9 months. So an IME is going to be difficult in that short of time with the injuries that they've sustained to have a contrary opinion. But it's certainly something that I can look into if you have the appetite to send for independent exams.
I mean, I don't want to ever question, the firefighters of Cumberland's determination to get back to work. I mean, we have awesome firefighters and all, but from a financial point of view, 6 members for 9 months is almost 3/4 of a year for another salary at time and a half to cover that person.
It stinks, there's nothing we can do about it.
Nothing we can do about it.
Nothing we can do about it.
I ran a medical practice for a while in town, and I know the patients I taught, some of the guys wanted to get back to work. But from reading other districts' reports around the state, around the country, some of them have built in they're codified, where it says after 6 months or after 90 days, it's something that can be done. Is this something you want to have the personnel subcommittee meet in executive session to just look at these things, or I don't want to get involved?
That would be something that we need to address when the contract comes up.
Yeah. Okay. So in a couple of years from now.
Right.
Okay. No problem. Thank you, Chief.
And certainly when we begin the process of collective bargaining. Prior to that, I would request that all the commissioners take some time to review the CBA, and they can come up with their own list of issues that they want addressed through the CBA, and then we can put that all together as part of the collective bargaining agreement. Okay?
Madam Chairman,
Commissioner Champagne.
I just want to bring to note that something the chief hasn't mentioned, and I'll mention it, is that it's not like the chief is sitting on his haunches and doing nothing. A lot of this is controlled by our insurance company. The chief has informed me that he's had conversations with the insurance company regarding IMEs, and they have their certain guidelines as to when a firefighter needs to go in for an IME. And the chief's decisions, and I don't want to put words in this moment, basically is we're using the insurance company as guidance, correct, Chief?
We've been using their guidelines, and their guide, because they will be paying for it, for the IME, they somewhat control when we can send. or if they deem necessary to send, depending on how they view the progress of the patient at the time. Some patients respond perfectly, but I got to tell you that the nature of the work is, like a rotator. I'll take a rotator cuff because I don't have one of those out right now, so I'm not talking about anybody. A rotator cuff for general populace would probably be maybe 3 to 4 months out with a rehab. Because of the range of motion, putting an air pack on, throwing ladders up, the work of carrying someone down a ladder, it's usually automatically 6 to 8 months for a firefighter till they get the rotator cuff re-strengthened. And it's the amount of pressure that is put on through the workload that we're exposed to that determines the extended factors of keeping some of these guys from coming back. I've got guys that, they say they feel great, but they can't get through the physical therapy test for 100% capacity. And, we all think we're better than we are, including myself. But some of it is driven by, the medical profession wanting to make sure that a candidate is perfectly fit to come back, because a lot of times the relapse is worse than the original injury.
Thank you. Just one other thing I want to make note of publicly, that Fire Prevention Week, since we will be meeting after Fire Prevention Week, is October 8th through 16th. October 8th through 14th this year. And Fire Prevention Week campaign is Every Second Counts, Plan 2 Ways Out. So it would be important for all of us to advocate for everyone having home escape plans that are practiced, as well as working smoke alarms. And that is my commercial for the evening. All right. We are going to
You want to take a motion to accept that? You usually do.
motion to accept
The chief's report.
Chief's report. All in favor, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Chief's report is accepted. 27, I'm missing 2. Here we go, resolution number 25.
I think you did.
I don't believe we did. Is there a motion on the board to accept the finance report?
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Archibald, seconded by Commissioner Scullin.
Santoro.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Santoro. See, I'm telling you, I need some sleep.
All in favor?
Any discussion? No. All in favor of accepting the finance report, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Finance report is accepted, 6-0. All right, resolution number 25, authorizing the finance director to abate $454.23, or is there a number missing? Because there is a comma there.
There's no number missing, that's what it said.
Okay. So the finance director has determined that the following items should be abated for reasons noted: Cumberland Housing Authority and Gary Namaka. Motion to approve resolution number 25 by Commissioner Champagne, second by Commissioner Hogan. Any discussion? All in favor of approving the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 6-0. Motion, resolution number 26, authorizing.
Before we get to the next few motions, I can ask the solicitor if you recommend having all of these expenses for the equipment put in the name of the finance director or in the chief, just so it's consistent across the board.
I believe for payments, we have been trying to be consistent with the finance director, because she pays the bills.
Okay, so you want us to change the next couple after this? like 26, 27?
Yeah, and I think that's a little different because he's putting it out for auction, so.
Or 28, you mean?
Well, okay,
up to
I
you.
really think we should just take one at a time.
Okay, whatever you suggest.
Yeah.
Yep, I was just going to say, let's do this one at a time, and you can raise the question when we get to the resolution. All right, we're on resolution number 26, authorizing the finance director to pay Ralco Equipment Company an amount not to exceed $9,108.45 because Ralco was contracted to make repairs to Truck 1. All repairs have been made with the approval of the chief. Therefore, the finance director is authorized to pay Ralco. Motion to approve by Commissioner Champagne. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jones. Any discussion? All in favor of accepting this resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 6-0. I need little tabs for these. All right. Resolution number 27, authorizing the fire chief to place Truck 5, the 1994 Emergency 1 aerial, on Municipid, an online government auction website with a minimum bid of $10,000, because the repairs needed to Truck 5 would be extensive, and the fire chief has recommended the truck should be sold. If we pass this resolution, the fire chief has permission to place Truck 5 on Municipid with a minimum of a $10,000 bid. Motion to approve by Commissioner Champagne.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Santoro. Any discussion on this?
Madam Chair?
Commissioner Hogan.
Just a quick question. If you do put this out to bid and we don't sell it, is there any way that we can use any of these pots for any of our other aerial ladders that are comparable? I don't know if they're different brands or just a...
No, they're different brands. This one is an aluminum aerial. The other two are steel aerials. This one is 75 feet. The KME is also 75 feet, but it's steel construction, not aluminum construction. The biggest issues with Truck 5 is the rear cross member between the rear spring hangers, which is in front of the fuel tank, is showing extensive rot, and they put an inspection sticker on it, a state inspection sticker this year, but they forewarned me that this will be the last time they do it. Because of the body talking, and they feel that this will need to be replaced, which is an extremely large job because you have to take the fuel tank down, you have to separate the chassis rails because it's a one-piece cross member. Coupled with the contactor ring, which is underneath the turntable, has a couple of bad spots in it. So the aerial will go and it'll go to a certain area and then it'll kick out of high idle and it won't stop. It'll come down to a slow motion, and then when it gets past the bad spot, it'll kick back up. To replace the contactor ring, which is a solid, it's just a circle underneath, you have to remove the aerial from the turntable. The estimate for that with crane services is about $22,000. Coupled with the fact that it's, in 1994, it just doesn't seem cost effective anymore. I'm hoping that we can get some significant bids out of Municipid. We had it listed with a broker for 18 months and we had no action on it at all, but that was before we had the detrimental weather that has affected both Florida and Texas, and it's my understanding that they lost quite a bit of equipment in those two states, so they might be looking for some fill-in stuff until they can get it replaced.
Makes sense.
Thank you. I wasn't sure whether we could swap pots for pots if we needed them, if we don't. And I'm selling, the main thing is if we could sell it, but if we have to sit there with it,
If we could, I would.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair.
See, then that will pay for all the the public education that you're now going to do because 4 of your firefighters went to my conference.
Yeah.
I just have a question. Where did the $10,000 come from? Just wondering.
you need to set a starting number that you wouldn't sell it below, and that was the number that I determined we could start at to show that, you know, we had a bottom line and that we would move from there. The way municipal bid works is people just bid against themselves until it closes. And if they don't hit the minimum bid, then it doesn't sell. We hold on to it.
Okay.
But this would be a great vehicle for like an electrician that does a lot of parking lots with, you know, the high lights in the parking lots. You know, they could come in with this vehicle, get up to the light safely, and, you know, where it's not emergent work in life safety, but it still would be a functioning truck for someone that doesn't use it as difficultly as we do and don't have to contain the same amount of safety features that we do.
Any other questions? All in favor of authorizing the fire chief to place truck 5 on municipal bid?
Right, all in favor?
Yeah, there was a motion. So I'm looking for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Vote passes 6-0. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Number 28, resolution number 28, authorizing Chief Finley to manage and expend funds as noted in the burner fire control proposal in an amount not to exceed $8,878. Burner Fire Control has submitted the lowest proposal for the installation of the 60-gallon CAFS unit, and that is going on ladder 1. So the fire chief has recommended that Burner Fire Control is the best option for the needs of the department. Motion by Commissioner Champagne. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Jones. Any discussion?
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Hogan.
Just a couple of questions, Chief. I remember, I believe, and I looked for my paperwork and I couldn't find it at home. I believe it was the special meeting we had on a Saturday at the Hayden Center, when we had the representatives from the other companies who were coming in with the CAF systems. Why was that not feasible to do? And my other question is, to me, this seems like it's the same scaled down version of the original that wasn't been able to do. Why is this? Why can we do this and we weren't able to do with a bigger capacity?
Your point is very well taken. The presentation that was given to us that evening by Shipmans stated that they could do a CAF system for us for a maximum of $8,000. I pressured them for a bid. They came back with not a CAF system. They came back with a tank, foam system, and a pump, and they were faltering at price. And I kept pushing them for a price. When they finally came back with the price, it was $9,600. And it was a 100-gallon water tank, a gas-driven pump, and the foam system would be mated through an eductor. That wasn't exactly what was portrayed in their presentation. I attempted to find some other CAF systems. They're included in your packet tonight. This particular proposal uses air bottles to drive the CAF system. It's not a continuous supply, but again, none of them were continuous supplies. This air, water, and foam is pre-mixed in the container, so I don't have to worry about an eductor clogging up or functioning or being set at the wrong rate. This is metered as you fill the tank. The town of the Village of Harmony has the smaller unit. They have the 30-gallon unit that they have on their squad truck, which houses their jaws of life, extrication tools, airbags, and struts. And they've had it for approximately 2 or 3 years. They've trained with it, they've never had the opportunity to use it at a fire, but the 30-gallon tank, they can get 7 effective minutes of product being discharged. So with the 60-gallon tank that I'm proposing this evening, we should be able to get an easy 12 to 14 minutes of product. We should be able to handle any incident that is going to need immediate attention, that being, you know, a vehicle fire with at a crash where you need to slow the fire down till you do your extrication. Brush fires, small fires, room and contents could all be slowed down, knocked down to an engine company with a larger water scale got there. The issue with this particular unit is it's been proven locally. They've had no issues in operation, and talking with the people at Minuteman Truck, which is a local parts dealer, they have these throughout New England, but Harmony Fire Department happened to be the closest. A similar unit is in place in Little Compton. They've used it effectively. They both have policies that it's not an interior attack line, which is the same type of SOP that I would put forward. There's just 3 guys on the truck. They're either going to do ladder, rescue, or extinguishment. And once they make their choice, that's what they will do. This gives them an opportunity for that first pull-up to slow it down until a patent water supply can be established and extinguishment accomplished.
But are these other 3 communities that employ this, are they on state-of-the-art aerial ladders, or are they on brush trucks? My concern, Chief, and I'm just a layperson, you know a heck of a lot more than I do, and so does probably half the people on the board. My concern is the safety. If I own a 3,000 square foot colonial up in Diamond Hill, and I have to depend on this aerial ladder to be the first response on scene, is this going to be able to take care of my property? And is it safe for the firefighters who are going to be operating this piece of equipment? Is it going to be enough foam, water, or whatever it's going to contain, obviously foam, to keep everyone safe? That's my major concern.
If it's room and contents, it certainly will. If it's a well-involved fire that is consumed an entire level of, you know, if it's got 2,000 square feet of a 4,000 square foot house fully involved, no, this won't put it out. But to be quite honest with you, the next 3 trucks aren't going to put it out singularly either. So it would take a group effort. You know, this is a short-term, slow it down till the rest of the patent water supply can be established to extinguish it. Can I say this is going to handle every scenario? No, I can't say that. But I can say that it's better than having nothing. The other communities that have them all have them on, they have specialized vehicles. They're not brush trucks, they're squads. They usually always have the extrication tools. They'll use that as the response to auto accidents, entrapments. They'll use the squad if they're going, because some of these communities are smaller and have less personnel. If they're out doing fire inspections, resales, roughs, or final inspections on new buildings, they'll take that vehicle so that they have some water supply with them if they have a call, rather than having to run back to get another apparatus to respond.
Now, how about the aerial fire suppression? Will there be, in other words, if you have to go to One Mendon Road with this particular ladder truck, are you going to be able to supply water to the top of the hose?
Yeah, there's 1,000
But you're going to have an engineer to make sure that you can pump the water through.
Right. Yeah.
No, I mean, I wasn't really in favor of this when we voted on it, and I'm not saying, it just seems to me that we're putting the cart before the horse. I think, well, is Pierce have any problem with this retrofit stuff? Do they?
No, they don't. We had the factory rep down, and while he was down doing the training. We can get a letter from them stating that they, I mean, I don't want to see down the road that they say, turn around and go, oh, you guys retrofitted this truck, we don't want to know nothing about it. That's just my concern. No, actually, the factory rep that was down took the specs from me, and during the evening contacted the main engineering at Pearson, Wisconsin, and they told them with the weight limits that we were proposing that we were perfectly within reason for the axle ratings and the distribution on this truck.
All right, thank you.
This total unit is loaded is like 700 pounds.
Chief,
It's like putting 3 firefighters in a compartment.
is this going to be refilled by our guys?
Absolutely, yeah. Both the air that generates it would be filled off of our air supply unit, and the tank and foam would be filled right inside the compartment. With
Are these
either
like regular
garden
Scott
hose-
air packs, Chief?
Please?
Are they like basically Scott air packs? The cylinders?
They're bigger than, they're like big oxygen cylinders that you would see on a welding truck.
Yep.
Yeah.
Chief, I noticed that there's mention of a 100-foot, 1-inch hose. Is that gonna be that, like the old trash line they used to have on top of Ashton's truck?
No, it's a 1-inch hose, but it's a high pressure hose.
Yeah. So it's round rubber. Will it be on a reel? They can just drag it and go?
Correct.
So it's
And
pre-charged?
I could do one or two things. I could do either a rubber line on a reel, or I could do the flat lay, which is what I propose, because we can flat lay on top of the drive cylinders for space utilization, where in this way you can come off either side of the apparatus, where if I went with a booster reel type scenario, whatever side it's mounted on would have to come off, run around the truck.
Yeah.
Because the transverse compartment, you can open either door and just pull it out the side you need it on.
And do you feel 100 feet's long enough? Is 100 feet gonna be long enough? I mean, the front yard in our town is like, what, 25, 30 feet average?
You know, it's,
Mr. Morris may know that better than anybody. The frontage,
Everywhere.
I know, but the average in town.
I don't know the average.
Mine's more than 100 feet, I think.
From the sidewalk to the front of the house, 25 feet, you go a little further. And follow up to that, will this provide enough tip pressure at the end of the hose of the line for the firefighter making the first attack?
absolutely.
To put out that room and
Yeah.
contents fire? 'Cause that's what the ASO rating basically requires.
room and
us.
contents, yeah. It has more pressure than a pressurized water can. It'll
course.
discharge about 110 pounds for a duration of approximately 12 to 14 minutes. And if you're very effective with a nozzle, you're going to do a lot of work in that time.
And that will not lower our ASO rating at all?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Finished product, I think I asked the guy from Shipmans on their unit, 60 gallons, and this is now going to be pre-mixed. Do you have the translation of what that converts to, like an actual water, finished product?
60 gallons converts to about 1,000 gallons of straight water.
Thank you.
I thought it even said, and I was reading through it, it was up to 1,200 gallons. So, any further discussion? All in favor?
One last thing. How long will it take to get done? And how long will the truck be out of service for?
It's not in service yet.
Well, tomorrow.
The installation will be done here, so it won't be out of service. Well, it'll be out of service during the installation, which they anticipate one day. And it's about 4 to 5 weeks to get the unit up here and delivered.
And that's the total price? Chief, is 88, 78, that's installed, everything?
Installed, delivered, shipping, correct.
Will there be any training involved with the firefighters on the truck? I think Shipman said that they would come and do some training with the new equipment. I mean, I know we have 2 CAF systems already in town, but
Yeah.
this is a
I didn't ask, you know, it's a pretty straightforward system. I didn't ask about training, but I certainly will inquire about it. It's so simple,
Yeah.
Commissioner. You know, you open the 2 air bottles, you charge the tank,
go.
pull a line out, open the valve to charge the line, and away you go.
Sounds good.
All in favor of allowing the chief to expend funds for this?
Motion made.
There is a motion on the table, and this was discussion.
Should it be the chief or the finance director?
Chief,
Chief. Chief it is.
all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-1. Oh my God, I'm sorry. All right, as I said earlier, as we tabled the review, as I tabled the review of the bylaws, does anyone have any questions that Kelly can address, Solicitor Morris can address prior to next month?
I think you did a good job.
Thank you.
Okay. Any public input? None.
Madam Chair, for next month, seeing that there's so much concern of the bylaws, should we just try to limit all business just to the bylaws? Anything that's non-essential, should we try to move to the November meeting?
Anything that's non-controversial, how about that?
Okay.
All right, is there a motion on the table to adjourn the meeting?
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Ashenball, second by Commissioner Champagne. All in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes.